All right, Brian here. Today's topic is glass doors. A lot of questions from customers on what's going on with glass. A couple things I want to clarify before we show you how to measure and put your glass in. Glass is not included in your order, no matter how much we'd like it to be. Problem is the shippers can't ship it unless it's tempered glass, and tempered glass is extremely expensive. So the best bet is when you get your glass doors to the house, they deliver to you. Measure the back of the door the way I'm about to show you. Get your glass cut by a local glass shop and put it in yourself. So that's what we're going to illustrate now, is how to measure, how to put the glass in, and how to cut and install the retainer molding that holds that glass in firmly. So let's get started. First thing you're going to need is a tape measure and then something to cut the glass with. A pair of scissors will work fine, sharp scissors, or you can use a pair of dikes or lineman pliers, but you're going to be snipping this rubberized gasket material. It's got to be something kind of sharp. So your first step is you're going to measure the back of the door. So in this case, we've got a nice custom colored green door here. There's the face. And the back, you can see Conestoga is going to rabbet out for your glass. Like, makes a little shelf that your glass will set onto. So that's your measurement point. So I'm going to lay this carefully down, and we're going to measure width. And if I go measure across, I have exactly a 1 foot, 12-inch opening. So I'm going to measure my glass about 1/16 of an inch less than that, because you don't want the glass to be fighting you on the way in when you set it into place. It's okay to have a little bit of slop because the gasket will hold that glass in firmly. So always back off about 1/16, maybe even an 1/8 from your overall. Here's our glass. It's a standard plate glass, and we're just going to lay that in very carefully. The longer the glass is, the more chance there is it'll flex and break on you. So we're just going to lay that in. Okay, it's laying in nicely on our shelf. And now I'm going to show you how to cut the glass molding, which is this rubberized gasket material. A lot of questions. Hey, what is the stuff that showed up with my job? I have no idea where it goes. They give you more than you're going to need, and it comes in one long length, and you're just going to cut it. Basically, it's a stretchy material. It'll stretch a couple inches on a run. So we're just going to lay it in to get a length. I'm going to mark it with my thumb. You can get really anal about it and measure with a tape measure if you want, but I'm going to mark it with my thumb. And I'm just going to take a pair of scissors and cut it to length. And then I'm going to cut a miter on it. Okay, on each end I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle. Okay, so we've got our two pieces of this glass molding, this long length cut. And you can see the miter is going away from this little ridged part on the bottom. And you'll see how this all works in a minute. I've done both ends. So now what we're going to do, let's get down in here, Jim, and show them the detail. First thing to note, there's a trough or a recess that's going to accept this spline groove when I press it in a moment. Because of that, this rubberized gasket molding only works with 1/8-inch glass. Doesn't matter what kind of glass. You can use, clear plate glass, frosted glass, doesn't matter, but the thickness can't be more than 5/16 of an inch is a pretty common size. A lot of folks ask about 1/4-inch glass or some kind of heavy leaded glass. The door will accept it, but we have to send you a different solid wood, painted or finished to match molding that you would actually pin and glue or at least pin to the back of the door. Or you can use the conventional clips that you can buy at Home Depot, where it would screw into the frame of the door and a little button kind of holds the glass in. We're not real fans of that because the glass wants to chatter and move around a little bit. So with that said, we're illustrating 1/8-inch glass, which represents 90% of what folks put in these days. So, getting back down in here, I've put my 45-degree corner right in the corner here. Let me back that back out and show you again so we can show you what I did. We've got our 45-degree corner. I'm going to put it right in the corner. I'm just going to press with my hand all along this edge. And you can see how fast this moves. I mean, you can really, sometimes I get a little piece hung up. You just got to use your fingernail or a screwdriver to lay it in there. And you can stretch this right into the corner. So that gasket molding, once it's pressed in, you'd be hard pressed to even know there's a molding there. It's very clear, so the color of your wood below shows through. Okay, so we're back. We got our piece of glass in, and while I don't have a cabinet to demonstrate, you can hear this isn't going to make a chattering noise. It's in there really solid. It will not fall out. What's really nice about this gasket molding is if you ever Johnny Jr. is trying to get a cup out of the cupboard and breaks a piece of glass, or you want to change your glass out for a different look. It's not a complicated process. This gasket molding, you simply pry it out with your finger, and you can just replace all 4 pieces using the same pieces, but you can put them back in with your new piece of glass. So it's very modifiable, and it's not a big deal to change out. If you order independent light glass doors. In other words, Conestoga will make it so each one of these grids would be its own piece of glass. You'll probably want to go a different route. I'm not sure this molding will work because they don't have the trough cut into all these individual grids. You're going to have to use a solid wood retainer or just silicone it in. So this gasket's really only used for full pieces of glass to give you a divided light look from the front, but it's just one big piece of glass from the back. Alright, so another comment on glass before we let you go here is when you're ordering Conestoga's doors with glass or frame-only doors, whatever, there's two options that you can consider. One is doing the interior of the cabinet matching, where the interior would be the color of the exterior, and that way when you're looking through your plate glass, the inside matches. Some folks don't want to spend the extra money because it's pricey. The matching interior option's a couple $100 on average for a cabinet. You can leave the normal blonde maple interior and then just do a frosted glass that makes the interior of the cabinet opaque. You can't see it unless you open the door. And that saves you some money and allows your visitors to not have to stare at your plateware or your spices, and you still have the benefit of glass. So frosted glass is getting more and more popular. Seated, reeded glasses, all those different kind of funky glasses that cost more but don't allow you to see into the cabinet, but light will show back through. So if you're going to light the inside, you have that really ambient look of the lighting without having people stare at the interior of your cabinet. So give us a call if you have any questions on glass options.